The Tower of Babel. Genesis chapter 11 describes God checking the pride and resulting violence of the nations that descend from Noah. In the section on the Tower of Babel, God halts the growing pride by causing a confusion of languages among the whole earth that once had only one language and few words. The one language ought not to be interpreted, argues Hamilton, to mean there was only one language, since chapter 10 states that the nations were divided by languages. Instead, it indicates that before the Tower of Babel incident, there was an international language, I quote, that makes cooperation and interchange possible among people of different languages. As the Catechism teaches, the division of the human race into many nations with many languages without a common language, I quote, is intended to limit the pride of fallen humanity, united only in its perverse ambition to forge its own unity at Babel, by building a tower with its top in the heavens. Genesis 11:4. The pride exhibited by the inhabitants of Shinar in their attempt to build a tower is, indicates Petrie, even noticeable in the pronoun they use. The pronoun used is the first person plural us. Let us make, let us build, let us make a name for ourselves, Genesis 11:4. In the context of Genesis 11, this pronoun is used in an exclusive, competitive sense of us against they, of us against other nations, and even against God whom they want to control, represented by the tower piercing heaven itself. The desire of the inhabitants of Shinar to dominate, rule, and control, and make a name for themselves is contrary to the very purpose of God making man. God created man, as Isaiah asserts, for God's glory and not for self-glorification. For this reason, St. Paul writes, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God." 1 Corinthians 10:31. When we truly seek God's glory and not our own glory, then, as a consequence, we at the same time seek the benefit without excessive favoritism of all, since all human beings are God's adopted sons and daughters. God responds to the prideful assertion of the Shinarites by scattering them abroad from there over the face of all the earth and confusing the language of all the earth. Genesis 11:8-9. Consequently, the name of the city Babel is given in Genesis, since it likely originates from the Hebrew word balal, meaning confuse. Like a mirror image of Genesis 11 and a reversal of Genesis 11, explains Petrie, Acts chapter 2 describes many people gathered together, this time in Jerusalem, which, according to a traditional etymological definition, comes from two Hebrew words, yara, meaning foundation, and shalem, meaning peace. For this reason, Jerusalem is often referred to as a city of peace, Hebrews 7:1-2. In this most fitting city, God sends his Holy Spirit down upon the apostles gathered around Mary. The gift of the Holy Spirit and the unifying language of ordered, truthful love the Spirit provides caused a large crowd of people who spoke many different languages to hear the apostles speaking in their own languages. The Catholic Church that was born on Pentecost is a universal church with one common language, the language of truthful love, the language of the Holy Spirit, which knits us together into one mystical body. As one body united by God, we are not to dominate others, as the inhabitants of Shinar desired, for as St. Paul writes, God has so composed the body, giving the greater honor to the inferior part, that there may be no discord in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. 1 Corinthians 12:24-25.